Hey guys, welcome back to the garage. We are ready to do some wiring on our digital dash installation. I'm going to show you guys what we got to do for wiring, and then we'll go ahead and get in the car and do it. So, not too many connections to make, a few pieces of the stock harnesses to modify, uh, but only about 10 connections to make. Got a few extra ones I got to do just for my Megasquirt 3 install, mainly running some ground wire for the Megasquirt to control the fan. But that's really it. So let's go over the instructions, take a look at the wiring harness, and I'll show you what we're talking about. Alright, so here is the quick start guide and the connections we got to make. Let's see. Red is 12 volt constant from the battery. Black is ground, yellow 12 volt ignition, so switched ignition source, and then blue door or dome light trigger, and that one is optional as a second trigger. I don't know if I'm going to do that one yet. Let's take a look at the harness. So there's the plug. That's what goes into the side of the digital dash, and then just like we talked about in the instructions, you got all your wires. So battery, black for ground, yellow for the 12 volt ignition source, and the blue for the dome light or door switch. Alright, so we also got to set up the GPS puck somewhere, clear view of the sky preferably. That's a relatively easy connection on this one. Just threads into the side of the digital dash, and they give you a little 3M adhesive pad here. Stick it somewhere. We got the fuel level circuit to build, so that it comes with in your accessories the optional fuel level, and it's just a resistor. And I'm not the expert on this, but Megasquirt 2 versus Megasquirt 3, there's a little bit different wiring situation on each one. I have the Megasquirt 3, so I will be wiring this into the expansion connector. So an open analog input, a 5 volt reference source with this resistor wired in there, and I'll go kind of step by step on that one in case this applies to anyone else running a Megasquirt 3. Let's see, I use green for gas. This end here will go to the brown plug, the stock wiring. I got two wires soldered in here. This one will go to the open analog input. There is our resistor, and then this other lighter green is going to go to the 5 volt reference. And that should be the circuit. And we also got some turn signals to do, so these are interesting. This is some of the thinnest strand wire I've ever worked with. Let me see if you guys can get a focus. Probably sucks on it, but anyways, that's super thin strand wire. I had to use just a razor knife to peel back the insulation, and then solder it into some 14 gauge wire. And interesting thing about these is the black wire is the positive and the colored wire is the ground to get the LEDs to work. And they come with just a little holder like this. Oop. 1/4 inch drill bit, and then it just slides over the top of the LED and goes into the bezel. You can mount these wherever you want. That's how it looks. Scoot it back a little bit. There you go. That's what it looks like. Fits into the bezel wherever you decide to mount it. Let me show you what I had to do. So here's my high beam one. Got the thin strand wire. Got my soldered connections right here. And I just got a length of wire here, which we'll trim to size. That'll be the high beams, and then I got two turn signals. so 2 greens. The high beam was a blue. Soldered connections, and I just got a length of wire which we'll cut to size. I am going to use clips on the back side of all the wires. That way if we do remove the dash and the bezel, we'll be able to just unplug them very quickly. So here's what I got for the bezel. See if you guys can see that. But there you go, just drilled in some 1/4-inch holes there. So my turn signal will be up top. I got the high beam right there. That was from an alarm system in the past a long time ago. And then my other turn signal is right over there. So left and right turn signals and high beams for the LEDs. Alright, so that is everything we're going to go be wiring up inside the car, so let's go get to work. Alright, welcome back inside the car, guys. Remember our green wire here? That's for our fuel gauge circuit. I got that ran over towards the computer. We'll wire that into the expansion connector. If you remember the brown plug right here, we've got to remove one wire, and this splices into our fuel gauge circuit. Here's the wire right here. I've taken it out of the connector. I know it's hard to see, but there's a little tang in here, and if you push it in towards the center, these pins slide right out. So I got the fuel gauge sender here, and then we'll splice it into my green wire, which the MS3 will read, and put it up on the digital dash for us to show what the tank is at. I also got our power cable wired in, red to battery. I already had some battery hots down here at my switch panel below the vent controls. I'm not going to do the door, the blue one. The yellow, I already had a key-on source. You can also wire it into the other plug we'll talk about in a sec, and then ground. Any chassis ground will work. But there we go, got the plug for the digital dash ready to go. And then over here, on this side, got this all taken apart. So this is for your turn signals and high beams. Let's see. I've got an 89. Remember, these are all different based on the years. Just make sure you get with Digital Dash EFI, and they will hook you up. But let's see, light green and white. That's for my left turn signal indicator. I got the black wires out. I'm going to use that for ground. That is the ground. So I'm going to ground all my turn signal indicators and high beams. Let's see. High beam is light green and black. There it is. Right turn signal indicator is white and light blue. There's that one. And then the alternator jumper is red and light green. And light green and red. So these two right here, I'm just going to jump these together. Curtis at DDEFI said no resistor required. Just jump these together and the alternator should charge. So these two will be jumped together. All our grounds here, and then turn signals, high beams. Alright, let's get to wiring. Alright, well, we got the turn signals and the high beam lights all wired up. Just remember on these that the black wire is not the ground wire for the LED. That should go to the turn signal indicator for left and right turn signals, and the high beam indicator for the high beams, and then the colored wire should go to a ground, which I just pulled off of the plug, and I showed you guys that already. Alright, so to test these, you do have to take the switches out of your bezel, connect those to the connectors. So I got the hazards and the rear window defrost one on there, and then on this side you've got the headlight switch.
So make sure those are both connected to the connectors, and then you can test this by turning the key to the run position, and then hit your left turn signal. So that is working. There's the right turn signal, and then we'll check the high beams. Those are working. That was the flash to pass, and then turn the headlights on real quick. And do got high beams. And I do have HID headlights. You might hear that buzzing. It's normal with those. Alright, so all of our LED turn and high beam indicators are working. Headlights are all still working. Oh, let's check the four ways. And those are working. So I think we're all good to go ahead and put the digital dash in. I'm going to leave the bezel off while we try and start the car, because I do want to check our alternator sense wire, where I did put a 2 amp fuse in between the two wires for the alternator, and I just want to make sure the battery's charging. So I'm going to leave the bezel off. I'm going to put the digital dash in here,